Good afternoon. So we've been learning about poems. What are the types of poems that we've learned about so far? Well, we've learned about haikus. What are haikus? You're right. It's a form of Japanese poetry. It has 3 lines, the first line having 5 syllables, the second line 7 syllables, and then the third line 5 syllables. And a lot of times those are nature poems. The second type of poem that we learned about is an acrostic. And we learned that if you have a piece of paper, you can write on the left side of your paper a name or an object and describe it using either words or phrases or sentences. And I used my name as the example. The third type that we learned about is, what is it? Yes, you're right. It's a cinquain poem. When you have a cinquain poem, how many lines do you have? Right, it's 5 lines. You have your topic, and then you have 2 words that describe your topic, and then 3 words ending in ing, usually verbs, telling what the topic does. Then the 4th line, you have a phrase telling something about your topic, and then the 5th line renames your topic. So we wrote one about Sally, and we wrote one about penguins. So today we're going to learn about a new type of poetry. We're going to learn about a poetry that has 4 lines. And when you think of the prefix quad, when you have that QUA or the QUAD at the beginning of a word, how many is that? Right, it means 4. So we think about quadrilaterals, shapes that have 4 sides. So quad. So the poem that we're going to be learning about today is a quatrain poem. So it has 4 lines. And quatrain poems have rhyming words at the end of each line, but usually it follows a pattern. So it follows a pattern of 1-1, like the first 2 lines rhyming at the end, 2-2. The next 2 lines rhyming at the end, or you can have a pattern 1-2, 1-2. The first and the third line rhyming, and then the second and the 4th line rhyming. It's totally up to you. Totally what makes sense. So let me write an example. Then we're going to write one together. So the example that I have, first line, I lay staring up at the sky. And that's okay if I write in the tree. Second line, not a cloud in sight. So do sky and sight rhyme? No, they do not. So which pattern do you think that this poem will have? You're right. It's the 1-2, 1-2 pattern. The third line. Then a kite flew on by. Notice that sky and by rhyme, the first and the third. And gave me a fright. Sight and fright rhyme, the second and the 4th line. So let's read this together. I lay staring up at the sky, not a cloud in sight. Then a kite flew on by and gave me a fright. So it's a very simple one. You can make yours a lot more complex. But it's good to start with simple examples when you're learning something. It helps to sort of spark something in your memory. Just keep it simple. All right. So I'm going to write one about Sally. Of course, you know, because I love to make up poems and stories about Sally. I'm gonna add to that tree, there we go. All right. So I'm gonna start with just something sort of funny because Sally does do this and she actually runs after them. So Sally ate a bug. She likes those little grub worms too that are outside. It's pretty gross. And I'm going to do the same pattern too. So I'm going to go ahead and write those. I should have just left that. Second one, it gave her a stomach ache. And the third one, we need something that rhymes with bug. So hug. Let me do this. She needed a hug. And now this one needs to rhyme with stomach ache. Ache. That's the k on the end. So also she wished she could put it back. Back, stomach ache. I know it's different spellings, C-H-E and then the C-K, but it's stomach ache, back, it rhymes. So Sally ate a bug. It gave her a stomach ache. She needed a hug. Also, she wished she could put it back. So that's just a fun little quatrain. So remember when you're writing your quatrains, which I hope you try out several. Remember they're 4 lines, and you can use this pattern of 1, 2, 1, 2, or you can use 1, 1, 2, 2. First 2 lines rhyme at the end. Second 2 lines rhyme at the end. Totally up to you. It's whatever works. So I hope that you're making a poetry book, or I hope that you're at least just exploring and writing some poems every day. I would encourage you to write some poems and draw some illustrations, and I promise you in years to come, you'll look back on these poems or look back on your book and you'll really treasure it. I'll talk with you soon.